Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Maria, and today we are going to talk about Redbubble masks. When Redbubble first announced that they were going to have masks, I was kind of excited, but mostly really nervous. The purpose of the mask is to slow down the pandemic by preventing the transmission from person to person of viral particles. I was honestly nervous that Redbubble is just trying to make money off the pandemic, and although I love Redbubble, I love making sales on there, I generally love their products, I was truly worried that these masks wouldn't be up to par to doing that. So I decided to try masks out for myself. I will tell you the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable, and as a quick PSA, if you are leaving your home, if you are going to a public place, you should be wearing a mask. I don't care if you dislike this video or if you unsubscribe because I'm saying this, but honestly, please just wear a mask.
Please just wear a mask. Please just do it.
I've heard a lot of complaints about people saying they don't want to wear masks because they're uncomfortable, they make you claustrophobic, or whatever reason you might have, like maybe you feel like you're going to suffocate, I don't know. But when you are saying that you can't wear a mask because it's too uncomfortable, you are saying that your comfort, your temporary comfort, while maybe you're in a grocery store, while maybe you're going somewhere, is more important than the well-being of your friends, your neighbors, and their loved ones. And
how selfish can you really be if you genuinely believe that your comfort level for a limited amount of time is more important than the health and well-being of the store employees, of their loved ones, of their children, of their friends, family, extended family? You don't have to wear a mask for a lifetime. Just put it on and take it off when you leave the store. Please just do your part and show compassion by wearing a mask and be a decent human being during these tough times. This pandemic has been really hard on everyone. I can't think of a single person who is in a better situation, either emotionally, physically, financially because of the pandemic, so please do your part and
help end this pandemic by wearing a mask. Now, as a disclaimer to my little PSA, I'm not saying you should wear a Redbubble mask. I am not advocating for any specific particular mask.
But please just wear a mask for your protection and the protection of others.
Now that my little rant is over, let's get back to the topic of Redbubble masks because that's probably why you're here. So I purchased a bunch of my Redbubble masks because I thought that they would print very nicely and I was excited to show off some of my designs. I ordered my Redbubble masks online and the process was very easy. I received them in about 2 weeks. My first impression of the masks when I first received my package is that they smelled terrible. And it wasn't like a something died kind of smell. It was like a chemical smell that was maybe masking out the something died kind of smell. I don't know, but it was not pleasant. And thankfully after a few days they aired out, so that's no longer a concern of mine. But I still think it's worth giving a word of caution about it because it was definitely very shocking to me that masks, which are supposed to cover my nose, would arrive being very smelly. And maybe I just have a sensitive nose, I don't know, so I'm very curious if anyone else thought about that too, so please let me know in the comments below if you also thought that. My second issue with the Redbubble masks is that they were not individually packaged. I know that we are trying to be more environmentally conscious these days, and we're trying to reduce our use of plastic, but something about just having a bunch of masks like jammed into like a plastic envelope, especially because my friend and I had decided to split on shipping and we both ordered masks together. I don't know, it made me really uncomfortable that all of our masks were just jammed together and I don't know how many people touched them. I really wish that they had been packaged individually so that I could give my friend her masks and she would know that my fingers hadn't been all over them. So maybe I'm just a germaphobe, and if you're laughing at me, making fun of me right now, that's fine. But I would definitely have had more peace of mind if my masks were individually wrapped. And it's funny that I mentioned that because I have ordered shirts from Redbubble that have come individually wrapped in like cute little wrapping before, so I don't understand why this is different. Now this is where things are gonna get a little bit interesting. So I took out the masks from the package, I looked at them individually, I had really high expectations, and I almost cried. I literally almost cried. My eyes filled up with tears because the colors that show up on my computer screen are not the colors that show up on the mask. I check and double check that my resolution's correct, that nothing's pixelated, and most of my designs come from watercolors or digital art. neither my watercolors nor my digital art designs showed up in the same way that they would show up on the computer screen. So for example, this is a watercolor that I made of a raccoon, and I scanned this picture and uploaded it to Redbubble on a high resolution, and then you get this. As you can see, the colors are not as vibrant. Like, they even look muddy. Like, where did this dark color come from? The blacks are not as black as they should be. The whites are not as white. And it almost looks blurry because of the fabric. So I was really disheartened by this. Here's another one that kind of looks blurry, and this was also a mixed media piece. And I was really sad when I saw both of these because I had really high expectations, and now I just feel like my artwork is being butchered. And I know it doesn't look that bad, but when you're an artist and you're expecting your work to come out a certain way, it's really sad and disheartening. So on a side note, if you're a Redbubble seller, I strongly recommend that you adjust your files for masks individually and try to increase your contrast on them and increase your saturation, because colors won't show up the same way and as bright as they show up on your computer screen. Now let's talk about the fit. The mask fit was terrible. So let me show you. Okay, so as you can see, this mask is too big for me. It has a bunch of holes. COVID can get in this way, it can get in that way. If I sneeze, it can come out the sides, it can come out the top. If I inhale or exhale, there's gonna be viral particles everywhere. So this mask is not a good mask, and it's sliding down as I'm talking. It's sliding down more, and now it's like in my mouth. I would not recommend this mask to anyone. But the issue here is that these elastics are too big. And the fit was really funny because the elastics are different sizes in all of the masks, and like the right is a different size from the left, which I thought was weird. So maybe you can kind of tell one side is longer than the other here. But anyway, so I found a quick fix for this. I decided to stitch up some of my masks. So it was different for every mask because of all the inconsistencies and the craftsmanship, but I found that I can shorten the elastic by stitching it, and thankfully I own some needle and thread at home. I don't really know how to sew, but I know how to push a needle and thread through a fabric, so this is what we get. So now that I've adjusted the mask, they fit a little bit better. See? I'm smiling, but you can't really tell. If you're going to do this, I recommend that you adjust only the bottom here. And the reason for that is because when you start adjusting the top, like I did on a couple of my masks, you can kind of feel it. It sticks out a little bit more. Personally, for me, it hits my cheekbones a little bit more. But it's not unbearable. I've worn these masks now for a whole workday at a time, and it didn't really bother me that much. And after a while, I kind of forgot all about it. But for personal comfort level, I would recommend only adjust the bottom. So you can try on the mask and figure out how much extra elastic there is, and then you can put in the work of stitching the needle through the thread, and eventually you'll have a mask that fits you pretty well. After trying the masks and being unhappy with the print quality and the fit and eventually fixing them, I noticed something else that bothered me about the masks, and both my husband and my friend agreed on this. The masks are really thin. Like, the fabric feels soft, but it's thin. You can't really see light that well through it, so that's a little bit reassuring. But the fact that they're thin kind of makes me wonder how many viral particles are actually keeping in and out. They don't have a pocket to put a filter in, so you can't have that extra layer of protection. I've heard of people putting in paper towels inside, which doesn't seem very comfortable, but I guess it's doable. But I was pretty worried about this. To test out the effectiveness of this mask, obviously I'm not going to expose myself purposely to the virus, but I wore the mask to my workplace. You might not guess from my YouTube channel, but I actually work with animals, and I work with some really, really smelly animals like skunks and raccoons on a daily basis. And if you've ever worked with raccoons, you know the raccoon smell. You know it's horrendous. I wore the mask to work for a whole day, and I realized that these masks, even though they're thin, they do a better job at blocking out the raccoon smell than the blue disposable masks that I was using on a regular basis. So I will continue to wear these masks to work, and I was really happy about that. I'm glad that the masks redeemed themselves in a little way. If the masks can block out the raccoon smell, I am pretty sure that they are also blocking out the respiratory droplets from when I talk to my coworkers. So I was very happy about that. Next, I want to talk about the feel of the masks. So when I first touched the masks, they felt really soft to the touch. They felt a lot softer than other masks, and this might be because they're thin. But the first time I put them on my face, they felt like sandpaper. They felt terrible. They felt itchy. I ended up just enduring it for a whole workday. But thankfully, you're supposed to wash the masks after every use. So after my mask came out of the washing machine, I noticed it came out a lot softer. So if you bought a mask from Redbubble and you find that it feels like sandpaper, do yourself a favor and wash your mask, and it will probably feel a lot better. And just make sure that you don't stick it in the dryer, because that's what the instructions say. I've been hanging mine up to dry on doorknobs, and so far they are in great condition. All of these masks have gone through the washing machine, and so far none of them have faded any more than when they arrived. So now that I've addressed all of the problems of the masks and everything that I hated, I want to talk about the positives. So I love that we live in a world where I can have a mask of my dog, like this one, or a mask of my dog in space, like this one, or a mask of my favorite animals, like the raccoon and the opossum. At this point, after having washed all my masks a couple of times, and after having made alterations to them, which actually took a lot of time, I am really happy with my masks, but I know that not everyone has the time to do that. So whether or not these masks are for you, I can't advise you on that. I can't tell you if I recommend them, if I don't recommend them. I think that's for you to decide, or for you to find out. But if you have already bought them, there are little fixes that you can make to make them more comfortable for your lifestyle. Something that I do like about this mask is I spend half of my workday being really sweaty while working with animals, and I like that these masks are really breathable. I haven't had the feeling of sweat trickling inside my masks like I would with an N95 mask or one of the blue disposable thin masks. So it kind of seems like they might be like moisture wicking. I don't know if that's entirely true, but that's my personal experience. They never feel wet when I'm sweaty, so that's a plus. Although I think that the price of shipping is pretty high for masks, I think that if you are able to split the shipping costs with a friend and do a bulk order like I did, I think the overall value of the masks is okay for the amount that you pay for them, depending on which country you're in. At least in the US, I found that to be the case. But keep in mind again that you might have to spend time making alterations depending on the size of your face. In my case, I thought my face is pretty big and that a normal size mask would work well for me, but they also have small masks and kids masks, and maybe I should have tried one of those, and maybe I wouldn't have had to make alterations then. But since I didn't try them, I haven't ordered those, I can't speak to those. I hope that you found this review to be helpful, and regardless of if you choose to wear a Redbubble mask or a mask from any other place, just please wear a mask and do your part in helping to end this pandemic. I hope that all of you are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you next time.